A court ruling in India hands down a big win for generic drugs. I'm David Gillen for The New York Times. Drug industry reporter Katie Thomas is here to discuss the development and what it means for patients. Hey, Katie.
Hi.
So India is the world's leading producer of generic drugs, and presumably this decision by India's Supreme Court to reject a patent application by the big drug maker Novartis will cement India's position, I guess, in the industry. But this is good news for poor patients who need the best drugs, right?
Right. That's what advocates for these people say. Yes.
Okay. So this ruling though is not going to directly affect what's happening here in the U.S., where generics are big and getting bigger. How is Big Pharma coping with the shift toward these copycat drugs, and what's the downside to generics, if any?
Right. So, as you said, that there's been this big shift in the U.S. toward generic drugs. I think 84% of all prescriptions dispensed now are generic,
right.
And that has meant fewer revenues for the big pharma companies, and similar. There's been similar kind of issues playing out in Western Europe. So increasingly, these pharmaceutical companies are looking to the rest of the world to try and grow their revenues, their sales.
So drug companies say that it costs a lot of money, $1 billion to bring a new drug to the market. Truth Squad that figure for me for a minute. I mean, are they making it out to be more expensive than it is to create a new drug?
Well, it's interesting. People have long questioned that figure, and even a couple of weeks ago, the chief executive of GlaxoSmithKline, Andrew Whitty, actually came out and said that was a myth.
Okay.
But the drug industry has stood by it. And the broader issue that they make, the broader kind of point that they make, is that, look, it does cost money to develop these drugs, and we are the ones who are coming up with these new life-saving treatments that will eventually go generic. So there's a need for us to be able to stay in business and to continue to make money.
Right. I mean, they're basically saying, look, if you don't pay us for these drugs, we just can't innovate. It doesn't work. So we've talked a lot about this patent cliff that big pharma is facing. Patents on some of the really big blockbuster drugs are going to expire, and their companies are desperately trying to come up with new drugs. How significant is that for the industry? What's going on with that now?
So, a lot of these kind of iconic drugs that people know about, Lipitor, Plavix, all these really big-name drugs, in recent years have started to go off patent, what they say. They're losing their exclusivity, and generics are able to come onto the market.
So that just means that a generic maker can come in and just copycat it.
Yeah, and so what happens is almost immediately, several generics come on the market. They offer these much cheaper versions, and then the drug companies' sales plummet.
Right. Okay. And obviously they don't like to see that, but again, from ordinary folks' point of view, it's cheaper drugs.
It's cheaper drugs. Yeah.
Katie, thanks.
Thank you.
That's all for now. I'm David Gillen for The New York Times.